It's been a few days since Elden Ring Nightreign dropped, and everyone's playing it non-stop. When the first trailer premiered at the Game Awards, I was losing my mind from the hype. I mean, seriously, I was jumping out of my seat. But I have to admit, even back then, some of my friends had mixed feelings about that. And those mixed feelings only got worse after Duskblood was revealed. Some people were frustrated that FromSoftware decided to stay from its usual formula and created an online-focused experience. Others, including myself, were behind excited for what was coming. On paper, it looked incredible. We had a game carrying the Elden Ring name, a fully co-op-focused experience, rogue-like elements, boss fight with your friends, and if that wasn't enough, Nameless King. And now that the game and its reviews are out, we've seen exactly what people think. The PlayStation Metacritic average sits at 77, and Steam users, well, they've done what Steam users do best, and made it one of FromSoftware's weakest rated games on the platform. Today, we're going to break down those reviews. I'll be sharing my own experience on talking about whether these criticisms are fair or not. I'm Ariana. Let's dive in. First of all, the game's called Elden Ring Nightreign, meaning it's made up entirely of Elden Ring's assets. That's actually the first criticism a lot of people started talking about. Now, don't get me wrong, no one's really expecting the game to bring in tons of brand new content. Even the devs never tried to promise us that, but still, there are no new weapons, no new spells, and honestly, a lot of players, myself included, were hoping for at least a few new enemy types to be added. It wouldn't have even been a big deal to bring in some enemies from previous FromSoftware titles. But no, not even Shadow of the Erdtree content made its way into this game. And yeah, that's a bit disappointing. Many players have said that because of this, the game starts to feel repetitive after a few runs. To be fair though, at least one DLC has already been confirmed for Nightreign. And personally, I think some elements from Shadow of the Erdtree will be brought over in future updates. That's definitely what a lot of us are expecting. I don't think there is a single Elden Ring fan out there who wouldn't want to fight Bill alongside friends. There are a bunch of other bosses people have mentioned too. Just saying, man, I wish this one had made it into Nightreign. So now the real question is, how strong is the post-launch support going to be? Now we get to the part where both critics and players seem to agree. The single-player mode. Let me put it in one sentence. It's really bad, unbalanced, and brutally difficult. Even if you're a highly skilled player, this mode is definitely going to frustrate you. I'm not claiming to be some elite Souls player or anything. But to prepare for this video, I gave single-player several tries, and I couldn't even beat the first Night Lord. The way he was absolutely destroying me felt like he was saying, go get 2 more people and come back. It's like this game was never really meant to be played solo in the first place. Things just don't add up. For example, in single player, trying to play as Iron Eye is pretty much impossible. Now, the devs have promised they fix the balance issue. But even if they do, I honestly don't think it magically turns into an enjoyable experience. Playing this game alone means you're essentially cutting yourself off from half the experience. This game was built to be played co-op, period. Speaking of co-op, let's talk about the problems there too. If you've got 2 good friends to hop in with and you're all on Discord together, trust me, you're going to have a fantastic time. But if you don't have that kind of setup in your life, yeah, the problems start showing up real fast. Once again, the game is hard, and a big part of your success relies on your teammates' skills. When you go down, your friends need to pick you up. If you've got a recluse on your team, you expect them to support properly. If you've got a guardian, you expect them to carry the game. But when you're paired with a clueless teammate, everything falls apart. Some people are just total beginners. They barely even understand the most basic mechanics. A lot of times, your teammates disconnect. Or worse, when things start to go south and it looks like you're gonna lose, they just straight up left the game. I once went into a final boss fight completely alone in a 3-player run. And believe me, it wasn't even a long fight. As I said, beginner teammates are a huge problem. This game just isn't made for them. The devs expect you to already be familiar with weapons, talismans, and tons of items. They expect you to have enough skill to survive on your own. Bottom line, a beginner teammate is 100% going to be your Achilles heel. And even if you're lucky enough to get good teammates, coordinating with them is still a nightmare. Your only way to communicate is by placing a single marker on the map. The game has no voice chat, not even a set of preset voice lines like in the other games that let you say help or follow me. It's completely lacking in that department. When you're playing with randoms, it's super common for everyone to just go their own way. And one of the biggest weaknesses of this game, it absolutely does not support crossplay. So let's say you've got friends who want to play with you, but they're on a different platform. Or maybe you even own that other platform too. But let's be honest, who wants to buy the same game twice? As far as I know, FromSoftware games have never supported crossplay. But in a game that leans this heavily on co-op, it really should have been a basic feature. Now, let's talk about another major issue. Even though the rogue-lite elements in this game are geniusly solid and enjoyable, real progression is painfully slow. What I mean is, you don't actually start feeling like you're getting stronger until after you've beaten the first Night Lord. There is a merchant in the game who sells items and relics, and while they're not super expensive, they're honestly really weak. So yeah, this part of the game also feels kind of punishing. Now let's talk about some of the weirder design choices in Nightreign. Take the character Executor, for example. They basically bring Sekiro style combat into this game. Sounds cool, right? Well, I've got a friend who calls himself Hashim Eisenberg, and he had a great time using this character. But he told me, in Sekiro, parrying always followed a clear formula. High risk, high reward. But here, we still have the risk, but there's no reward. You just block incoming attacks, but you don't gain anything meaningful from it. It's basically just a more dangerous alternative to using a shield. And I told him,
"You're goddamn right."
If you've been agreeing with me so far, drop a like and help me keep making more videos like this. Now, one more thing. This game is all about fast pacing. The entire design philosophy is centered around speed. Most of the mechanics, if not all, are built to keep things moving quickly. Take weapon color coding for example. There's always been a question of how do you make players make fast, smart weapon choices without slowing them down? Well, Nightreign answered that by color coding weapons. It's something all gamers are pretty familiar with. But even here, some small issues pop up. One thing that really stood out to me. Target change happens so fast that sometimes you lose track on your own path, especially during hectic scenes. And trust me, there are a lot of chaotic moments in this game. Now, let's talk about something that wasn't shown in the trailers, but everyone kind of expected. Frame drops. Thankfully, it's not too serious. Honestly, it's much better than the launch day experience of Shadow of the Air 3. But yeah, it's worth mentioning. Now, let's wrap this up. If you've got people to play with, friends you can co-op with, this game is absolutely going to be a fantastic experience for you. But if you don't, the game might end up being more frustrating than fun. And honestly, don't get your hopes up waiting on developers' promises. Just don't try to solo this game. Some people are complaining that Nightreign isn't the same kind of experience as previous FromSoftware titles. But come on, that's kind of a dumb take. The game makes it very clear what it's trying to be. Despite all the expectation people had after the reveal, even the devs themselves said from the start, this game has a story, but it's told in fragments, so by now, you really need to lower your expectation. There is a narrative here, but it mostly just serves as a wrapper for the gameplay itself. For example, after you beat the first Night Lord, there's a cutscene. And in that cutscene, it ends with a line like, "There are still many Night Lords remaining." Also, I noticed a picture of Radagon in the Roundtable Hall, and I'm geniusly hyped to find out why. Is there a new theory or piece of lore that's going to tie into the main story? I haven't finished the game yet, so I don't know for sure, but I really hope so. And if you like this video, by the way, I made another one while ago comparing level design between Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 3. So if that sounds interesting to you, make sure to check it out too.